Hi and welcome to today. I'm Amanda and I'm taking you on my 31 days of essential tools and supplies. My essential tools and supplies may be different from yours, but today we're going to be playing with. So let's get started. Hi, it's Amanda here and welcome to the studio and welcome to the 31 Art Studio Essentials. So today I wanted to show you my storage containers and I thought I would just say hi. I will be also talking about some online courses and yeah, so let's get started. Okay, so today you really have to excuse the mess at the moment. I'm in the middle of tidying up. Just finished kind of working on a couple of exhibitions and everything is still in the air at the moment. Anyway, so we're talking about storage containers. So they come in a variety of styles and things that you can get. And I just thought I would talk, about some of the things that I brought and how I use them. So actually we're looking at up here. So we've got these. So these are kind of storage containers, and these were my brother and his wife used to do a book business, and I inherited these from them, but they were really good as storage containers, so I thought I would utilize them in that way. I think they used to put books in them, like children's books, and then this was their presentation case. But when I was in my last studio and I had shelving, different type of shelving, having these on the shelf and knowing what was in it, being able to see, was useful. In a couple of videos before I talked about inherited stuff, so this I inherited from my father and I did try and cover it. It's like lasted so many years, but it holds all those little bits and pieces that you're not quite sure, but you're going to use them. So I use it to just put stuff in, and I did at some point try and organize it. So it's got all of those kind of hardware type things. I go through pens a lot. I go through these ones that I brought recently. I use them with my art journaling, not art journaling, journaling. Every morning I write kind of 3 to 5 pages of stuff, from The Artist Way, Julia Cameron, and I go through these pens. So I always buy them in bulk, but I go through sort of like every 2 weeks. If I'm writing every day, they last just over a week, and it's just ridiculous. This particular one, and the problem with this one as well, it doesn't look like it's finished, but it's kind of finished. It's like a weird pen. Anyway, we're not talking about pens, but yeah. So in that drawer I keep pens and then just other stuff, as I say, that I haven't really found a home for. So this particular drawer was a drawer for clothes, and when my mother moved, it was just spare. So I thought, well, okay, I can use it in my studio. So in that one I keep all my papers and rolls of paper, and I have lots of paper ephemera. So it used to be a bit more tidier. Anyway, so this particular drawer is when I was again in my old studio in my box room, and I needed a drawer to put in. I used to have all my paints and stuff, and this was from IKEA, and it was like for a kitchen, but it suited me well because they're deep. Again, what's in there now is just stuff that I'm gonna have to tell you about these. Do I? Anyway, these are Kindle cases, but when I brought them I thought they were on sale in my local supermarket for about like £2, but they're leather. It smells gorgeous. Yeah, they're £2. Kindle and the Kindle Touch. So when the Kindles first came out, so these are now, you can't use them because the sizes are different. Anyway, so yeah, I thought they'd make really nice journals so that I could paint them, and just trying. It's been in there so long. Fight with it. Anyway, so I thought, you know, you could use, you know, a simple stitch and put some paper in there, and it could be like a mini travel journal. So that's what I brought, loads of them, and thought, okay, there's a mosquito over there. It's like hunting. Anyway, so that was a kitchen drawer, and it came in really handy. These ones, again, I started to amass loads of stuff, had loads of fabric stuff, and these came in handy because, again, I can see what's in them. They can be protected. They've survived like travelling, and they've got a crack at the bottom, but you know, they're still useful. The other things you can get are metal drawers and the plastic drawers. The metal drawers, I keep all my paper, not paper, it's like all the little stuff when I used to do card making and things like that, but they're still useful in terms of the mixed media work that I'm doing. So it's got all of those kind of things, and that comes in handy, and just in terms of keeping them all together and in one place. And again too with the plastic drawers, where I use this one to keep all my some of my journals that are to be made, or in the process of being made, or made. So again, we don't need to go through that because I didn't show you. Anyway, yeah, so, and the one, let's come around here to my corner. See, I've got another one of the metal drawers, but that was all for the stuff that I kind of put in here were things like we've got my knives, cream, anything electrical went in here. And so I've got loads of other different types of storage. So I brought this recently, well, not recently, I brought it about 1.5 years ago, and it housed all my paints. In the top it was supposed to be, I'll swap these around. In the top it was supposed to be kind of like mark making things. This was supposed to be in the top, mark making things, anything that you know, like I wanted to put, if I wanted to put paint in a container, I could do it quite easily and not have to, you know, if I was just doing quick work, so I didn't have to worry about, just move this sculpture. Okay, so all my different types of paints. So I've over the years collected different types of paints, and some I haven't used to the best effect. These ones, let me see, I might have talked about these when I was talking about acrylic paints, but these are wax paints. I haven't yet used them, and I've had them for years. Got them at a discount. I can't remember how much they were, but they were cheap enough that I thought, oh, they were, you know, like they weren't, I think they weren't making them anymore. And then these ones as well, they can be, they like on any surface, water soluble. Anyway, so I use this for all of my paints, and yeah, all of my paints and things like kits as well. Oh, these are my favourite, the Neo colours and Carrel. They're my favourite. And they work really nice in art journals. Anyway, so storage is important. And then I've got these desk ones where I keep my pens. Yeah, all different types of pens, as you can see, labelled. These are ones that I made from recycled material. I can put a link if I remember. Milk cartons. And then just, you know, worked around it, and they house my as you can see, my Pro Marker pens. What other storage containers? These ones, you know, my mark making tools and fabric pens, and these little drawers came in handy. They were from the pound store, but they don't, it's not that they don't travel well, but weather, they don't do well in hot weather. You see this that's the handle just broke off. So yeah, but again, you know, it separates all the little things that I use. Glitter glue. See, it's just like I brought a load of glitter glue, these sparklies, and whilst I don't, and glitter, I used to use glitter a lot as well, for paper stuff. And whilst I don't use glitter now, again, mixed media work, in journals to add accents or whatever it is, they come in handy. So when you think about the stuff that you might have, I think if you order your stuff, then you get a better sense of what you've got and things don't get left behind and unused and then dried up. And that's one of the things that I found with some of the paints that I've had, that happens. And so you really do need to get to know your supplies, and that's really one of the essential things for me for this series, is that you get to play with your supplies, see what you've got. Again, if you really don't need it, see if there's a friend who might like to try it out or, you know, use. The other little storage things that I've got are these little baskets, and they were actually, they actually had chocolate in them. Did they have chocolate in them? I think they did have chocolate in them. And so again, with these little things, in my last studio, the shelving that I had, it was just perfect for all these things. And so, but I just kept them in here. These are embossing powders that I still use as well. Yeah, so it's worthwhile looking around and seeing what you can utilize as a storage container. Like these things were just like sandwich makers, and I put all my PBO paints, and that works really well. This was a drawer, had 4 drawers, and these are the drawers that I've utilized in my, you know, Pro Marker pen holders, and then I just use this to stack things as well. So you really kind of need to look and see what works for you and how you can use the stuff. Again, other storage can be things that you don't necessarily use that often. You want to keep them all together, and so this again works. I can just, you know, bring it down when I need it and put it back. At the moment I'm working on cards, so that's why they're there to remind me. So I'm going to leave it there. It's just a few storage containers that I've shown you. Oh, let me show you this mess. I think I will do another video where it's, you know, a bit more ordered. Anyway, so this is a useful storage container, and the idea for me was that as I complete work, that I can put it in here, or, you know, put it to the next stage. What happened is that when we moved, the space that I'm in had no storage container, so actually it had no storage, sorry. And so this is the, you know, the space. So I had to put up shelving, which I've changed around in terms of what was on them, because I actually wanted to have finished pieces on the shelf, and I wanted to get rid of that because it's just like, it's so tall, I have to be on a ladder to get it. I want to be able to access everything. So it was like, but I wanted the shelving up, so got the shelving up, put those things there, and I wanted to have close to hand the things that were most used. And so I still have to work through my supplies and how I'm using it. So this thing then became, okay, I need to load this up with stuff that hasn't yet got a home. You know, these were all on shelves, my Mod Podge and inks. Actually, I can use that to fill up those ink pens. I've got some ink pens that need filling up. It's this mosquito flying around. Anyway, so again, this needs to be sorted out, but it came in, it's a handy, you know, it's got different size baskets, and for the work that I was doing and am doing, in terms of I'm always working on more than one thing at a time, space permitting, and surface space permitting, that something like this with the different pockets, once it's ordered, is a really great idea. Anyway, so I'm going to leave it there, and I hope that you've been inspired by something. And it's great to have you here, so please do leave a comment if there's one that you've seen particularly. Oh, I didn't mention this, it's just it was like for filing, but I picked that up at a place called Staples, but any kind of stationery store will have something similar, and I just utilize it. You know, your studio is your place where you're working, and there needs to be practical elements that work for you. So what works for me might not work for you, but there may be something that you can adapt and say, okay, well, I can use that. Like, you know, I use these. There's a piece of wood here. I did have my camera on there, but what's that? Okay, latex thickener. You know, I had this big container of latex that I was going to use, and because of the heat it dried out. Anyway, that's another story. So this has doubled, you know, whilst as these drawers, I had to put the wood on for it then to become more functional. And oh gosh. But you know what, they always find you. It's just like they head towards you. Their eyesight must be like, oh, there's a human standing over there, let me fly towards their face. Anyway, I'm going to leave it there. Thank you for joining me and my ramble. Storage containers, you know, see how they work for you, utilize them the best they can, shop around, don't just buy the first ones, but, you know, kind of do your research and see, or, you know, try and make it if you can, you know, using recycled material. That will work. All right then, so take care for now, and I'll see you tomorrow.